Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description.
Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we are getting closer and closer to our season 1 finale.
One away. We are counting down to the end.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited too.
But first we get to watch Ian drink a glass of milk.
Weirdest.
Menacingly.
Weirdest reveal of him rounding the corner with a big giant glass of milk.
The boy drinks milk and he drinks brown alcohols.
I feel...
My tummy hurts looking at him.
Really? I remember you saying that when we were watching it. At what age? Like, I feel like, because this might be controversial, but I feel like at a certain point, it's weird to see adults drinking just a straight up glass of milk, like as a refreshment.
Yeah. I don't have the stomach for it.
No, definitely not.
So I don't know, but yeah. It's odd, especially not at breakfast either.
It's just like, oh, I just went to the fridge. Well, I know this is way past got milk days. So like during that time, I would understand because there was a lot of money being poured into saying everybody should be drinking more milk.
Which makes my tummy hurt again.
Exactly. So I don't know. Do you think he's a 2%?
I think he's a whole milk.
Whole milk?
Whole milk.
Or do we think it's the worst? He just has a tall glass of skim. That's what I drank for years at my house.
Why did you drink skim milk?
It was after my mom had cancer. I think for whatever reason, we drank skim milk. I don't know if it's correlated.
Were those connected or did your mom just...
I was 5 years old.
You weren't asking a lot of questions.
No,
that's
and
fair.
That was just milk.
We always had whole milk.
I had skim milk all my life.
Yeah, no. Sometimes we had the lighter milk for like Granny would get it for certain things or like, my mom would get it for like certain cereals or, whatever. But we always had whole milk in the fridge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, on that note,
You're saying you had to eat your Cookie Crisps with skim milk?
You know who you're talking to.
You didn't have Cookie Crisps? Frosted Flakes?
I wouldn't put milk in the cereal.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, if we haven't brought this up before, for those of you that don't know.
I mean, we probably have on
when
the
Brenton
Veronica
and I
Mars season.
First started dating one day, we would have been 22-ish. We were in his apartment, and I watched the boy pour a bowl of Cheerios, grab a spoon, and sit down. And I said, "You gonna eat those dry?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "And then with a spoon?" Because like I get eating dry Cheerios. They're snack food. It's like eating Chex Mix. Like it's fine.
Yeah, they put it in a container, and if I got like fussy during
I'd give you a little. But I never seen anyone use a spoon to eat dry cereal. And then I found out from his uncle that Brenton has been very anti milk in his cereal since he was a baby.
Yes. And then in high school, staying over at one of my friends' house.
I didn't know where that was going.
When I was over in Nam. At my friend's house.
Because I was like, when he was a baby and you're like, and in high school.
Well, there were multiple times in my life where people would try and like really get me to do it.
Why? That's mean. I just thought it was odd.
It is odd.
It was the spoon that got me,
I'm not denying that. Yes, exactly.
Why are you wasting a spoon?
I don't like soggy spoon. I don't like soggy milk. Give me the crunch.
Yeah, but you could just eat it with your fingers.
I guess... I don't know. I'm civilized. I get the grapefruit spoon. It's got the little jagged edges.
Are you saying I'm trash because I ate my Cheerios with my fingies?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, just checking.
Your high class fingies.
Anyway, so Ian and the milk. That's the episode title, right?
Yes, exactly. No, someone to watch over me. I don't know. Sometimes when I read these episode titles. We open on Spencer and Emily entering Spencer's house, and Spencer complaining about math. Mrs. Hastings comes down and tells Spencer to stay calm, that the cops are here and they have a search warrant. Spencer runs upstairs to see them going through a room, and she tells her mom, like, "Hey, tell them to get out." And she's like, "I can't. They're like literally just doing their job," which is when Ian walks by and stares and drinks his tall glass of milk.
That's like it's a pretty well known, I assume, meme in the Pretty Little Liars community.
All I can think of, or all I thought of at the time too, was just like Clockwork Orange.
It's a terrifying scene.
It is. Aria is on the phone with Emily about Spencer's and her search warrant, and she sees her dad. And Aria's like, "Hey, you have 2 coffee cups there." And he's like, "Oh, yes, your mother's coming to the house for coffee." And Aria's like, "Okay, but how is that possible when there's like 2 empty cups there?" And then she hears the door slam, and she's like, "Hey, was that Mom? And was she here all night?" And then Byron's like, "Well, when Mike comes down, we'll all talk about it." And then goes to explain that, like, hey, your mom isn't sneaking around here when like she is when she's like, hanging around. She doesn't sneak. It's not her house. And then she comes back into the house and pretends like she wasn't just there, but immediately drops the act and says, hey, I don't know what's happening between me and your father, but we're figuring things out. And then she's like, "Aria, you don't really seem surprised about this." Then Mike comes down and they explain to him, and Aria suggests, "Hey, why don't we make dinner and we'll all be a big happy family together."
Love it.
Hannah hangs up on a call about Spencer's house getting searched and tells this to Caleb. Ashley then comes down, and Caleb goes up to shower. Ashley notes, "Hey, wow, look at this full breakfast you're making. It's like the image of domesticity." And Hannah's like, I like it. And then Ashley leaves, and Hannah goes to pack up Caleb's lunch in his backpack and finds a piece of what she thinks is owl jewelry. And then she smiles. Cut to the lunch tables at school, and Hannah is showing Aria and Emily the image of the owl. And this is when we know that this is not going to go great places. Emily asks, "Why an owl?" And Hannah's like, "Well, it represented our first night under the stars." And Emily asks, "Hey, have you had another opportunity?" And Hannah's like, "No, not yet, but we're planning." Aria sees Paige and Sean hanging out and asks when the hell that happened. Thank you, Aria. Emily looks worried. Emily looks weird, and Hannah, reading the room perfectly, goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm doing okay. So like, I'm glad that Sean has found someone to do fine. I mean, because I'm in love over here." Spencer then comes in
wearing my Tumblr owl.
I know, it's really funny. Spencer comes in wearing a newsboy hat. And the friends are all surprised that she's at school, not the newsboy hat. Although I was certainly surprised. Which I shouldn't be. It was the times.
Yeah. Just because you didn't dress cool doesn't mean the rest of us didn't dress cool.
Absolutely.
Be cooler.
Spencer says the cops came and went and took like things from her jewelry box and her shoes, and but then my mom stopped them from finally taking my laptop. And she's like, "Hey, just as a heads up, they might try pulling this on all of you." And the friends are like, "Hey, it's okay. Like, don't worry." Spencer's like, "I feel like a fool, and I can hear like A just laughing in my head." Hannah asks pointedly if that laugh sounds like Jenna. Spencer then gets a text from her mom to like go home, and then she asks the friends to walk her out. The 3 go to leave, but Aria stays behind to send a love text to Fitzs. She
signs it.
Yes. We then cut to Ella in a classroom getting the text from Aria and looking puzzled. It's just a few chords. That's right. Sean catches Emily in the hallway and asks her like about Paige. It's like, "Hey, I know you're on like the same team together. Is she like single? What's her deal?" Emily's like, "Well, Paige isn't really like my friend. We're just like
we swim for the same team.
We swim on the same team." I'm jumping ahead of my notes, but it's great. Sean's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm sorry, I'm Hannah's friend. You're Hannah's friend. I'm out of line for asking." And Emily's like, "No, like Hannah wants you to be happy in this." She says the same team reference. Ella then talks to Aria and asks how long she's known. Aria's like, "Well, I just had a feeling, but like I'm okay with it. That's good. Like I want you to come home and I miss you." Ella shows Aria the text that Aria sent, and Aria freaks out, and Ella asks, "Hey, who is it?" Like typical mom fashion of just like, "Oh, I'm excited to guess who it is. Maybe I'll like try and see him around the hall or something."
Why didn't Aria just lie?
Yeah.
I would have lied.
It comes back around to Aria's like, "Why didn't I?" And Aria's like, it's just private at the moment. And like, you need to delete that. Like, please, like, I need my privacy. And I was like, oh, okay. And deletes the text. It's gone. And Aria's like, hey, everybody's entitled to their privacy. And if you and Dad have secrets, why can't I? Damn. Aria would rather, she's not thinking about like trying to cover up right now, but she's like, oh, I've got like, I'm going to lash out.
I can punch.
Aria at her house packs a purse full of things that are connected to Fitzs, but leaves behind the copy of Winesburg, Ohio that he gave her. Spencer looks over her emails and starts deleting them. Toby then arrives and says, hey, there's a cop car in front of your house. And she's like, really? Or there's cops out in front of your house. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah, I know every single stock sedan in town because they used to rotate in front of my house. Like, what's going on? Spencer tells him about the search warrants, and Toby's like, that's crazy to think that like you would hurt Allie. Toby says Spencer should like take coffee out to the cops to show she's not afraid. Spencer asks about the night Allie was picked up and mentions to Toby that she thinks it was the night that she was picked, that Toby saw her get picked up on the night she died, and that she thinks the other guy that was in the driver's seat was Ian. Spencer says there's a lot of things that make her look guilty, and that maybe Toby should hang with someone else. And Toby says, who else would we hang out with?
People cross the street when they see me.
I know. Children cry in front of me. Emily asks Paige about hanging out with Sean and tells her about Sean, like asking about her. And Paige like, oh yeah, he asked me out and I said yes. And it's like, it's no big deal. It's just a group date. Stares
Excuse
in
me?
anger.
Excuse me, no.
No.
One, that's mean to Sean, but two.
Yes, absolutely. Like you're talking to
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing with Paige, the audacity. Ella and Byron walk and have coffee and discuss the reuniting dinner. Ella then says Aria knew about them and mentions Aria's secret romance. Byron says, like, aren't you interested in who she's dating? We need to look around. We need to figure out. Like, there's like, police activity around her. Like, all this stuff that's happened. We need to like get on this and figure out.
The high school boy that she's talking to, you assume, is like involved in this? Like, that's what I'm like.
Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I guess they all thought Toby did it, so like anyone's a possibility,
right? Mm-hmm. And the town doesn't know like who Toby's shacking up with until later.
We'll get to Brenton's favorite part in episode, the next one, though.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Ella says, hey, we need to trust her like a good parent. And Byron says, I don't trust the rest of the world like a bad parent. Aria hands her bag off to Emily for safekeeping. Emily asks if she mentioned Fitzs in the text, and Aria says, no, but what if I had? Emily and Aria see Haleb talking on the phone and overhear him say that he can't do it tonight and that he wants out because he's living in our house. They overhear him say he'll eventually call them later tonight and walks away. Mm-hmm. Aria and Emily talk to Hannah and about overhearing Haleb, and Hannah's like, you got it all wrong. Like, I can't believe this. I thought you wanted to be happy. And Emily's like, we heard what we heard, and maybe he's seeing someone else. Hannah says, it can't be him. We've told each other stuff about everything. They all look at her, except for the A stuff.
She's like, well, not everything.
Yeah. Spencer says, maybe we're being paranoid, till Aria interrupts her to stare at Jenna walking by. Not that for the usual reasons, though. She points, and she's got the owl jewelry around her neck, and Hannah looks stunned. Hannah furiously texts as the three friends wonder what could be going on. Emily walks over to the girls' bathroom and overhears Paige and another girl talking about Sean. The girl is very congratulatory of Paige for going out with Sean. Aria is... I don't know why I wrote this down. It's just a scene where it's like Aria's texting and Ella is just like watching over like a hawk. Jenna is on her laptop and Spencer watches her take off the owl brooch, but it turns out it's actually a USB drive, and she puts the flash drive into her laptop.
I literally wrote, it's a flash drive. I knew there was something with it, but I couldn't remember what.
Right. You're like, why would this be like handed off?
I'm like, what was in the brooch? What was in the brooch? Maybe it was like, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's a flash drive.
Digital info.
I forgot that it was 2010.
Right. I Put it on, yeah, you could have just put it on a Google Drive.
Do you remember how we all had fun, pretty colored flash drives? Like everyone had like fancy looking flash drives.
Really?
Yeah, did you not have fun?
No, I did not have a fun flash drive. I missed out.
You just had like boring ones?
Yes.
I had like hot pink ones, and I
wow.
had ones with different shapes on them, and then like you take the top off, and like there was like a turtle, and the head came off, you know, to uncover the flash drive part.
That sounds pretty fun.
Hmm.
I just had more like the one sitting on my desk here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, not exciting.
Representative of your non-cookie crisp childhood. Everybody, we've learned a lot about Brenton today.
I know. Very revealing episode. Spencer talks to their friends about the flash drive, and they wonder if 214 is related to Haleb. Hannah pushes back on this, and Spencer says, no one wants this, and, you know, we haven't seen him in school all day. Aria says, we do know that he's connected, and Hannah walks away sadly. Hannah writes a note and puts it in Caleb's locker. She walks away, but then turns around and tries Caleb's locker combo and for 214, and it opens. Hannah and Caleb, like, cut to Hannah and Caleb discussing this at the house, and Caleb said, like, giving excuses of, like, I did it for the money, and, like, I thought it was just, like, she was just asking me to do this for, like, general mean girl behavior, and that, like, I was supposed to get close to you, but then, like, I was supposed to get close to you, and then like Jenna started asking these weird questions, and I didn't like that, and that like we were getting close, so like, you know, and the USB just had a bunch of junk on it, like it's like nothing. And he tries to get close to Hannah, and Hannah then rebuffs him, and like, you know, like rejects him, and then Caleb grabs his bag and walks away. Toby and Spencer share tea in front of the fire.
It looks so romantic.
It's very romantic.
Like, I would like to have tea in front of our fire.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a fireplace.
We'll put it on the Netflix.
That's probably safer for the two of us.
Much better. Toby says he feels bad because he's involved with what's happening to all of them. And Spencer pointedly says it's the other way around. We happen to you.
That is true. I wrote that down.
Extremely.
I was like, mm-hmm.
Plymouth Rock landed on us. Toby asks if Spencer ever ran away, and Spencer's like, once when I was little after a fight with Melissa, and that my parents sided with Melissa. So I ran away to a movie, and I watched the movie, but I started getting so lonely in there that I came back. Toby asks if her parents were worried, and Spencer's like, they didn't even notice.
And that's when we all collectively cried.
Seriously? It's like, oh God, heartbreaking. Toby says, don't get the urge to run away again. And call me first if you're going to.
Yeah, if you ever get the urge to run away again, call me first.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we went, oh.
Yeah.
That's where Emily realized she got all of her expectations.
From Toby?
Yeah, you know, because I did watch this at like 19. So like I'd already dated a bunch of duds. So I was like, what if they were a little bit better?
What if they were like Toby?
What if men were better?
We could all aspire to be like Toby.
Yeah, what if we all improved a little bit? At least right now. I mean, you don't know where Toby's going.
Toby doesn't have a lot of things under control, but he has a lot of emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm. That is true. And I feel like that remains the same throughout.
Okay. Oh, poor Toby. Preemptively.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay, good. It's just right now the out of control things are a little rough. Byron looks in Aria's... Oh boy.
I'm just kidding.
Byron snoops in Aria's room and sees the book from Fitzs. He starts like leafing through it. Like obviously he didn't open up the cover to see the note. But then Ella interrupts him and says like, don't start spying on her. What are you doing? She's like, if Aria's keeping a secret, she learned it from us. Byron then goes into defensive mode and goes, oh, it's because of me? Is that what you're saying? And I was like, well, like, he's like, I thought you were over this. And I was like, well, it's still hanging over. We haven't really addressed the issue. And Byron stays indignant. But then Mike walks by and they both stop and they say, oh, what are you doing home?
Hello, child.
We don't know how to talk to you, so you're going to get some really weird inferences off of this conversation here. Aria and Emily see Paige and Sean. Aria says she should just pick a boy to tell, like, lie to her parents about. And Emily says, like, that would just be easy. Emily's like, there's nothing easy about lying. Aria then looks at her weird. And Emily's like, about the boy. It would just be, it's not easy. And then she stares at Paige. Mrs. Hastings and Spencer talk about the investigation and how the police follow, like, the most easy route available. And right now, that's Spencer. Mrs. Hastings says they're going to get through this together as a family. You know, in certain moments, she can shine.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah talks with Aria and Emily in the girls' bathroom. Aria asks if the Caleb stuff is true, and Hannah says yes. Jenna walks into the bathroom. Aria and Emily go to leave, but then Hannah's like, wait, like, I'm going to stay. Like, I just want to talk to her. Hannah walks up quietly to Jenna, and Jenna asks who it is. Hannah winds up and hits the shit out of her, knocking her glasses across the bathroom. Hannah then picks up her glasses and says, "This is Hannah, in case you couldn't guess," and leaves as Jenna cries. Stone cold. God damn. Yeah, I was surprised that was how that scene went.
I loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
So
you
like
pushed Hannah.
Uh-huh.
We now know what happens when you push Hannah.
And Jenna, I completely understand why you'd want to fuck with these people, but when you fuck with people, stuff might happen back. And this is the first time where someone's like, I'm gonna actually just rock you.
So quick smack in the face.
Nothing quick about that one.
Smack.
Yeah, that was a lot. It was good. Mike walks into Aria's room and says, "What the fuck? You were breaking this family apart. Like, what did you do? Whoever this guy is, just like dump him, or like say you'll dump him and like make it up so like our parents will be okay. Like, why are you tearing this family apart? Why have you chosen to do this, sister?" Aria's like, "It's okay. Like, it'll be okay." And Mike's like, "It better." Boy, the emotional intelligence did not cross the street. They both come.
It's only on one of the chromosomes.
Like I said, I blame the parents for not talking to their child. Aria and Mike both come downstairs and see Byron is cleaning up the plates and say, "Oh, your mom's feeling sick. We'll do it another time." Mike then looks at Aria angrily. Emily gets a text from Paige asking if she's busy. Spencer, we can cut to Spencer arriving home in the dark and sees Ian sitting in the living room. And Ian's like, "We were all worried that you might have run away." Spencer's like, I don't like need your worry or your help. And Ian's like, "Well, you know, when you say help, family protects one another. And there's a window here, like, where if you ask, like, I'm happy to help you." Spencer then keys in. It's like, "You're trying to, like, help me run away. And, like, wouldn't that be convenient for you?" Ian's like, "Well, time's running out, like, for me to help you. Like, because when they arrest you, it'll be way too late." Yeah, fuck. Emily lets Paige into her room. And Emily asks her about her date with Sean. Paige says, Paige says, "Yes, that's where I was tonight." Like a normal person is my editorial. And says, "Hey, he's a nice guy. It went okay until he kissed me, and the night suddenly felt phony all of a sudden, and it wasn't me." And Emily says, "You have to be honest with Sean and don't lead him on." And Paige says, "It's so easy for you to say that. You're fearless and you're out." And Emily's like, "It's like almost completely accidental that like I'm out, but now I don't have to worry about it." And Paige says, "If she comes out, the whole world will change." And Emily's like, "Yeah, it's going to." Mm-hmm. Emily then comforts her by saying that when she was pretending to like boys, she would look for guys like Paige who would help her do things she wouldn't normally do, like the time we did the karaoke. And Paige leads in and kisses her. Emily, patron saint of lost causes. Hannah, that's a little mean, but Hannah cries in the bathroom, and Ashley comes over and knocks and asks, like, "Hey, I noticed Caleb's thing's gone. Are you okay?" And Hannah's like, "He left." And she's like, are you sure you're all right in there?" And Hannah's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna like take a shower," and then cries. Spencer is sleeping when her mom walks in and says, "I just got back from the station, and there's a shot of us having the warrant thrown out." Spencer says there was nothing for them to find, and Mrs. Hastings says, "Actually, they did find something. The name bracelet that you had matches the fiber that was found in Toby's house on that sweater." Mrs. Hastings asks if she planted the evidence at Toby's, and Spencer's like, "Hell no. Do you think I'm guilty, Mom?" Mrs. Hastings says, "No, I think someone is going through a great deal of trouble to make you look guilty." We then cut to a gloved hand pulling a glass heart with Hannah's name on it out of a box and smashing it with a hammer, then put it in a box with glue and a note that says, "Dear Hannah, try putting it back together. Kisses." The end. Yeah. This box is not resurfaced, and I doubt the box will resurface.
Well, while I pull my questions, I'll give you a nice little text photo of Ian drinking a glass of milk.
This is amazing. The awkward moment when Ian is standing in your bedroom door with a glass of milk. Jesus.
Yep. It's just the best.
It
what
really
was that
is.
boy doing? Do you think he made that choice, or do you think that was in the script?
I have no idea. Yeah, I'm gonna say
What's worse?
It's just who you blame. What if he's like really in character and he's like, Ian would definitely drink milk.
He's evil. He would drink, milk. How can you identify a villain? Well, how full is their glass of milk?
Right. When they were doing the casting process. Okay, 1 minute. So, like, before you leave, we just have one question. What would a villain drink?
He was like, milk. A villain would drink milk.
Thank you so much.
I love it. So Ian and the milk, I think we've talked about it enough, but it is the strangest part of that episode by far.
Is.
It outshines the rest.
Mm-hmm. Except for one other. Well, there's some good moments in here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about Spencer's neglect story.
Oh God, yeah.
How sad.
It's really sad. Like you could at least infer that like her parents were very hands off, but it's like Mrs. Hastings, you kind of get it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she can be. We get so many scenes of her being very doting. So then when
she's there, she's there, but when she's not, she's not. It's kind of how I take it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But also for her not to notice that her daughter was gone for 2 hours.
Right now, Spencer needs her. So she's needed. So it kind of triggers that, like, you're dependent on me, and therefore I will give you the attention you want.
Oh, yeah. And also it's involved
Are the Hastings codependent? On this episode of Pretty Little Therapy.
Exactly. Armchair therapy. And also it's connected to her work.
Mm-hmm.
So then
it's what she does well.
Exactly.
And she can mama bear it because, that extra piece.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, I know these things. And then, yeah, like we mentioned, Mr. Hastings is an ass.
Yes. So we have that. Why does Aria sign her text messages?
XOXO Aria.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Does Mr. Fitzs not have her number saved?
Maybe he doesn't.
But you'd think he'd know it by now.
Right. Yeah. You would think he'd know it. But maybe she just does that to everybody, and everybody's just like, why do you keep signing your text?
Mm-hmm.
She just wants everybody to know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, and I know you know what happens next with Haleb and Hannah, but
oh, do you think like after that?
Well, and what are your thoughts on Haleb? Like, what do you trust Haleb?
I do. I think like now I trust Caleb. I trusted him from the beginning, because it is like one of those things like where Caleb is this. He has no attachment to Hannah, no attachment to anybody else. So he's like, I do things for money, like blah, blah, blah. And like I ask, like, and I act like I don't like depend on anybody, like blah, blah, blah. Like I'm aloof and I keep apart. But then now that I've made a connection with someone, I feel really bad, and I'm like wanna like
be with them.
Exactly, yeah, be with them and trust them. So yes, I trust Caleb. I think he just made a big mistake.
Do you think he gave Jenna any info?
That's what I couldn't figure. I don't think nothing like useful.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is more confirmed in the next episode. Mm-hmm. That it's like, oh, she really like doesn't know, because what Jenna was looking for wasn't at Hannah's.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it was probably just like Hannah's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
9 a.m. wake up or whatever.
Yeah.
Does make up. So I think it's kind of like gobbledygook. It's probably a bit invasive for sure. So like, and when I'm couching all this stuff with Caleb and stuff messing up, like I completely understand like why Hannah would be like, the rug is completely pulled out from under me, and like I don't trust you anymore. So like it's that is a huge breach of trust, and I'm sure that is what is on that flash drive. And to tell someone else that was like hiring you to like literally spy on you, like, yeah, that's bad. And,
yeah, I think he said he gave her no info though, because I think it's then he like gave her the blank flash drive. I'm assuming.
Right. Yeah, it said it was just there's junk on there.
Yeah.
Is what he said. So, I think Caleb has been in a vulnerable position, in terms of just like the way his life has led. So like,
Fair enough.
I don't completely blame the boy, but like Hannah's 100% right. Am I jumping ahead if I address the Jenna slap?
No, I go for it.
Yeah.
The slap heard around the world.
Oh my God, that was like I said, I was surprised, and it was a really hard slap, like really hard. Like oh my God, like
Ashley Benson learned how to do a good stage slap.
Slapping the glasses across the bathroom too, and picking it up and putting it back on her. Like I said, cold, ice cold, and I mentioned before, but like this. You start messing with people, it might come back around on you.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah, you fuck with people, they might get you back. This is the first time Jen has been like step 2 like that.
I love that it's Hannah too.
Yeah, me too.
Because like, it's just like, poor Hannah. Poor Hannah didn't stand up to Allison.
Oh right.
Hannah was picked on by everyone, and now Hannah's like, "You want to come for me?"
Yeah. No, this plays into my third act Hannah thing, because like she just takes action like everywhere across these episodes. It is like, I am hurt, I'm addressing the person. Like we're squashing this now, and it's just like, I am hurt, this person is in my sight line, I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
So like she's already done the lessons, and now things are just happening to her.
Exactly. Love that. No, this slap is a perfect segue. Let's go back to the Spencer's room. Where's her extra Allison bracelet? Did they not find that? Are they not?
I couldn't remember where that was at either. Did Spencer have that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I know they all collectively did, but I don't remember who took it. My money is that like.
But like, remember, because what's his name gave them one, so I was wondering if she would have two.
Yes, Jason. But I wonder if it's at Emily's house where everything is now stored.
Yes.
I thought it was so.
That was Emily's locker that she was putting Aria's stuff in.
Oh, that was her locker. Got it. But yes, sending things to Emily for safekeeping.
Byron and Ella's parenting, nightmare.
Nightmarish.
I mean, Ella's great, but
exactly, Ella's being cut off at the legs. Byron is just a miserable man, in more ways than one. But
why did Aria keep the book? Like, that was the one thing that was very glaringly obvious.
I know. So I feel like that's got to be something, maybe to do with the book or something, that like there's like maybe some sort of literary reference or something that like I don't know by having not read the book.
Oh no, but I mean like the one that has his name in it. Like, out of all the things she has in relation to him.
Yeah, like a ticket is fine.
Yeah, because she could be like, oh, I found one even though I wasn't there.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say, except for that ticket.
Like, Spencer's mom went and she dropped it and I grabbed her ticket or something. Or I was gonna make it into a collage. Like, there's lots of things. But like, a book signed with his name in it.
Is that the only gift he's given her?
Maybe.
So maybe that's why she kept it.
Maybe. It's dumb, girl.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Stressful.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. But yes, Byron is just miserable.
I mean, I guess dating your teacher's pretty stupid too. So
yes, it is. Yeah, exactly. She's not making the best of decisions. But poor Mike, like, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. And like I said,
you've been 14 before Brenton. Tell us more.
Let me tell you, like, he thinks he's gonna blame it on the first person that he can because his parents won't talk to him. Like, literally, like, they freeze up when they see him. It's like, oh God, like, you're here. Nothing's happening. Haha, we're fine.
It's like the opposite of the Jenna effect.
It really is. And it's like, oh, your mom's tummy really hurt tonight, so she couldn't come over, Mike. And so, like, he has nothing to do, but like, he's all confused, so he blames his sister because the only one he can talk to. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like secondhand funny, like seeing Mike struggle, but
a 14-year-old boy be a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, exactly. He's not in the loop on anything. So yeah. Poor kid.
Other like minor notes from the episode. Shawnee Baby's back. I forgot he came back. They let this boy in too many episodes of the show.
Exactly.
I don't ever remember him.
I understand why.
Every time I see him, I'm like, and that's the last time we're ever going to see him again.
In 2 seasons, when
I've killed him off in my head.
I feel like this is like your Anne.
Her...
Oh, he's still going, huh? I get it. Like he's
I
just kind of a
forget he
nothing.
exists.
Yeah. He's just kind of around to be a thorn in the side, but not because he's doing it intentionally.
Yeah, he's just accidentally in the way.
It's not his fault that like Paige is like still like using him for cover.
Mm-hmm. And then Toby knows all the undercover cops.
Love it.
Cars.
There's a great advice from Toby. I love that.
Go take
scene.
him a cup of coffee.
Exactly. Don't show him that you're not afraid. And she's like, or I didn't notice. No, I didn't put it in my notes. But she goes, what if I am? And he's like, well, like they won't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fantastic. Love this, Toby.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Toby. And also he's just like, yeah, it's like they were always in front of my house, so like I now know these things.
Yep.
Yeah, don't trust cops.
Uh-huh.
And
Toby taught
step
us some
12.
important things.
Yeah, he did.
And then Paigely's the worst ship. We can just
Yeah, I made the joke, but it really is that like Emily is just trying to lead Paige to like, she's doing the opposite of like what Maya did with her. Was like Maya is like, you have to do this, and Emily's like, I can help you do this. So then it's like backfiring on her. And then I think I would be more sympathetic to Paige if she wasn't so cold to Emily all the time. Of just like, yeah, I'm going with Sean. Like, I know we talked about it last week, but like, whatever. Like, get over it. Oh, it's just
so it's no big deal.
Right, exactly. I thought you would understand, even though like they've talked about this before. And so just like she's also leading Emily on, which is rough. So like that's the part that I really fault Paige for. So it is a miserable. It's
not a great plot line.
No, watching them is just like, okay, all right, we're doing this. Yeah, my 2 least favorite things are Byron and Ella and Paige and Emily at the moment.
Okay, Ian's offer to help Spencer get out of town.
Yeah, ominous. Love it.
Why? Also, he went from milk to like whiskey. I literally was like, my stomach is so sour watching this 45-minute episode. My tummy hurts.
I only drink brown and white. I
hate it. I don't want it. I hate it.
No clear liquids. So dehydrated.
You would die.
Someone help.
Do you imagine your stomach? You can't even have pizza and lemonade, baby. You can barely have just the pizza.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think Spencer's like, right. It's just like, oh, this would help you. Because then if I'm on the run, they're looking after me because it looks like I did something.
So then is Ian just wants to clear his own name?
Yeah.
But he still dated a child.
Yes.
Too.
Exactly. He's covering up.
Okay.
He has no scruples. Scrupulous. So he's like fully just like, I want things covered up.
So then what is A involved in then? Is A involved in this Ian aspect of him trying to help Spencer get out of town? Okay.
No.
Is A involved in Jenna having Haleb spy on Hannah and co?
No.
What is A doing?
Oh, well, yes. So in a way.
Okay.
A fed Jenna. Okay. Brenton's Theory Corner. Hey, welcome everybody.
Pulls out the bulletin board.
Exactly. Oh yeah, I need to make that PowerPoint slide for next week.
Do your homework.
I know I need to. So Ian is the murderer. And
he did it with the
that was the exact joke I was gonna make. Exactly. And I still think that A is doing something to try and avenge Jenna. Not Jenna, Allie.
I was like, damn.
Exactly.
Plot twist.
Jenna is not Jenna. Now you see she was in a car accident a while ago and they swapped her out. If you look at Sergeant Pepper. But trying to avenge Allie. And so is trying to figure out who like Ian is. Probably, or who the murderer is. In my case, Ian. And so is feeding Jenna info about, hey, I think one of them has a key.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Allie hid there was a storage locker that, which we get to next episode, but like there was a storage locker that like Allison had access, like hid stuff in. Like maybe you should check out like if one of the friends had it. It's the dog hitting the buttons.
The what about Bunny? I love it.
It's Bunny this whole time.
It's Bunny, eh?
Ian murder Allie.
If you don't know who Bunny is, you have to go on TikTok and find Bunny. She's very cute. She's very smart and she speaks using buttons.
It's a golden doodle or I forget.
Completely different. It's definitely not because it's black and white.
I can't remember what the type of dog. It's like it has hair and it's curly and it's like pretty tall, like probably lab size. And it's our owners were part of an experiment with a college where like to try and teach dogs like to use language, and it has buttons to be able to communicate. So like if Bunny wants to go outside, it's like hits the button that says like go outside. Because that's like a question.
Outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Or why noise? And the
then,
question mark is
Yeah, there was one that you showed me. It was like stranger hurt or something, and it was like
ouch, stranger paw, because she had a thorn in her paw.
Yeah, wild.
She had a stranger in her paw. I was like, oh. So you think Bunny knows? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
We will.
Everybody should be asking Bunny on TikTok.
We don't get Bunny, but we do get Tippy the bird. But you'll have to wait a while for Tippy. Tippy the bird.
Oh man, what a name! What a name!
I think it's Tippy the bird. I'll have to look.
Tippy the bird.
So okay, so you told me A's plan. So that's really, I don't want to go too much further into this because then we want to get that next episode and then you can give me your theories.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Next episode? Okay. Episode 21, Monsters in the End. We open on a clown mannequin being carried down the street. The friends are all out to eat at that cafe we've seen before.
The Apple Grill.
Thank you. And they all discuss the possibility about Spencer's bracelet and like it potentially being like Haleb that planted it. Spencer says someone is looking out across the street and is like, someone is watching us. And then Aria's like, oh, it's just a Founders Day mannequins. They're just like supposed to be scary like that. Like, don't worry about it. They then all argue about Haleb being involved while Spencer continues to look out the window and says, there's definitely someone watching us. Hannah's like, it's okay. Like, I will talk to Haleb. And they all get up from the table. The camera then pans across the street and we see Garrett emerge from between the mannequins.
Why did no one listen to Spencer?
I know, no one. Oh, hush, Spencer.
That's okay.
Shh.
She's under a lot of stress.
The adults are talking. Melissa and Mrs. Hastings talk about Melissa's pregnancy. And Melissa says, everyone is talking about our family and mentions that the nurse at the doctor's office thought Spencer would be wearing handcuffs at her baby shower and says this as Spencer's coming downstairs. Melissa, they then discuss Founders Day Festival and how Melissa and Ian are going to be working there. And like, Spencer, you should totally like come there and work with us to get on the town's good side. Toby then calls Spencer and Mrs. Hastings is like, here's where we swing back around. Mrs. Hastings says, don't be associated with him until this blows over because neighbors will start getting ideas. And they're all potential jurors and that court cases are won in living rooms.
That tells you everything you need to know about how badly we view the justice system.
Absolutely. No. Hannah looks in the kitchen and Ashley asks why Haleb moved out. Hannah says there's nothing to tell. And Ashley asks if Hannah would rather stay home today from school before Mona walks in. Mona asks if the sketchy boy is gone for good, and Hannah says yes. Mona says, it's all my fault. I didn't protect you. I never trusted him, and I should have been a better friend like that. And Hannah's like, it's all right. I did like the touch of Ashley being like, would you rather just stay home from school today? Good parent. Haleb walks up to Aria at school and asks about Hannah. Ella walks by and mouths to Aria if Haleb's the boy, and Aria rolls her eyes. Aria tells Haleb this is a conversation like that you should be having with Hannah if you want to like make it up with her. Paige and Emily discuss tickets to a concert, and Emily's like, "Oh, this is so exciting! Like, I'll happily like help pay for them." And Paige's like, "Nah, it's all right." And like Troy can pay for his. And Emily's like, "Wait, why is this boy coming along?" And
T as in Troy?
Yeah, T as in Troy. Can't get it out. Wildcats.
Brenton watched High School Musicals 1 through 3 over the last year.
Yeah.
He had never seen them before.
Yeah, a year or so. 2's the best.
2 is the best. T as in Troy.
Exactly. It's good stuff. And Emily asks why this boy is coming along. And Paige, coming along. And Paige says it's because my dad bought these tickets, and I want to be alone with you, but like, I'm working on coming out, and like that's a whole thing right now. But I have been looking online, and I found a pride group from like a local college, and Emily's like, hey, if you want to go meet like one of these people like in person, like I'm happy to go with you. And Paige kind of looks at her and is like, sure. Aria and Fitzs, Aria sees Fitzs, and goes to ask him about weekend plans. She sees her mom, so then she knocks the coffee out of his hands to have him crouch down. And Aria is whispering to him, asking about the weekend, and Fitzs is wondering what the hell is happening. He's like, why'd you knock that out of my hands? And Aria is like, hey, I'll just explain this over dinner. Haleb reads a textbook, and Hannah walks over to join him.
At the school?
At the school. It's
never
strange.
seen them do that before.
I know. Look at that boy over there. He's quite serious about his schooling. He's going to go far.
I love that it's Haleb, too.
Exactly. That unwashed boy over there.
He must be smart.
Exactly.
Unwashed boy.
Hannah asks what Jenna wants and what she asked him to do. Haleb says she wants a key, and that Jenna thinks Allie gave one of the friends a key, and that Jenna doesn't know who. Haleb asks what's with them and Jenna, like what's going on, and Hannah's like, nope, you don't get to know that, like you don't get to hear about this stuff. Hannah asks like what else, and Caleb's like, nothing else, but I do miss you. And Hannah says, well, you'll get over it.
That's my girl.
Aria arrives at Fitz's on the phone with Spencer. Spencer wonders why Aria and Fitz are still texting, and Aria's like, well, we haven't like I haven't told him about it. Spencer then talks about how she hasn't told Toby about the sweater yet because of the moratorium from her family on talking to him. Their call ends, and Aria goes to Fitz's computer and finds a website open. It's not Facebook, but it's some other social media app.
It's website. It was Facebook. It was dubbed.
And website.
Website.
And finds the website open to a picture of Fitz and another woman with tags around Italy. Fitz calls Aria about like, hey, I'm running late, sorry, but like are we still on for dinner? And Aria's like, yes, we'll talk later. And then Aria notices a ring on the woman's finger. The friends all discuss this potential key. Spencer and Emily rip into Haleb, and Aria tries to get them to stop and like, hey, maybe people maybe people just sometimes like look through things. Spencer says, what the hell does that mean? And Aria's like, okay, I was looking through Fitz's like anonymous like website page, and I found this like picture. And then Spencer asks what it could be, and Aria says maybe he's leading a double life. Aria asks, isn't Aria his double life? And Aria talks about looking through the images. Emily says like, oh, you should ask him. And Hannah's like, no, I have a better idea. You should make a fake profile and comb through her page. They all look at her weird, and Hannah says, okay, well, maybe we'll just go with Emily's idea. I don't know. Spencer walks up to Toby and says she's glad he still wants to talk to her. Toby says they can't talk because his family thinks that Spencer could still be involved.
How does it feel? Romeo and Juliet, but in the strangest way.
It really is. This is definitely one of those like perfect like teen drama things of like both our parents like hate the other. They just don't understand. Spencer mentions her parents are not wanting her to talk to Toby. But maybe we could meet up at the festival later. Jenna opens the front door and says, "Toby, drive me to my makeup test." Spencer walks home, and Garrett stops her out front. Spencer says, "I thought you were on like my side. Like I thought you were like investigating for us." And he's like, "Listen, I'm following you, and I can't have personal feelings on the job, but it's better it's me than someone who thinks you're guilty." Emily arrives at the coffee shop and is looking for Paige, who like isn't there at all, and some girl greets her. And it's like, "Oh, are you Paige? Are you like you spoke online or whatever?" And she's like from the local school pride group. And Emily is audibly stunned because she finds her attractive. Hannah and Aria are on the fake Facebook. Hannah pretends to be a classmate of Jackie's to send a friend request or to make the profile, and then has Aria request her as a friend. Emily and the girl from the pride group, whose name will come up later in my notes, are left alone.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, it's like Shay or something.
It'll come back.
Yeah, it'll be coming up soon.
When you love something, set it free.
Exactly. And Paige doesn't show up. The girl then Simone. No, that's that was Aria's friend. That was yeah. Well, like I said, it'll come out. Samara. There we go. Samara then mentions that like, hey, I dated a girl that was in the closet too, like when I was younger, and it was really hard. Like it's like really hard to get around. She's like, "Hey, why don't you like stop by our booth? I'll be working the festival later." Spencer is then helping set up at the festival with Melissa and Ian. They are helping one Mrs. Ackard, who is very cozy with Ian and Melissa and is like, "Ooh, your baby is happy news, and this town needs happy news ever since that Allison." And then everyone looks icily at Spencer and is like, "Oh, sorry." Mrs. Ackard then mentions to Ian that the Reverend was looking at golf courses and lists a bunch of like golf courses, including Hilton Head. Have you been to any of those? Spencer then jumps in and is like, "Oh, he loves Hilton Head." Melissa then chimes in, "Oh yes, we've been there before, and we got a room overlooking the ninth hole. It was beautiful." And Miss Aggers like, "Wait, the brochure says the course is on the opposite side of the hotel. How the hell did that happen?" And Melissa covers and is like, "Oh, I must be confused." And Ian walks over to Spencer to quietly ask what the hell she thinks she's doing. Mrs. Ackard then calls Ian over, and her and Ian leave. And Spencer asks
to do what? We don't know.
God knows. Exactly. This lady is going to pester him. She is smitten. And Spencer asks Melissa if she told the police that her and Ian stayed on opposite sides of the hotel, and asks if they were even at Hilton Head. Melissa just looks at her weird and walks away. Mm-hmm. The plot thickens. Emily looks at the booth, around the booth that Samara runs, and is having a good time when Paige shows up, and Emily's like, "Oh, hey, Paige, like, so glad you could come. This is Samara from the pride group over at the college. I can't remember." Samara's like, "Hey, like, I'm always there. Just let me know. Like, I'm happy to reschedule." And Samara's like, "Oh, well, why don't you like compliment like Emily on like how beautiful she looks like with those earrings and things? Like, doesn't she look great with that necklace?" And Paige just looks at her awkwardly. Caleb shows up at the Marins, but only Ashley's home. Ashley asks where he's staying, and Caleb's like, "Not very many places. Gonna be pulling up my spurs and heading to Arizona." Ashley says Hannah's having a really rough time, and Caleb says, Hannah's really lucky to have a mom like you, and asks like if Ashley could give Hannah a note. Ashley says Caleb should just go to the festival and say goodbye himself. Ashley doing great this episode. Paige asks Emily what she told Samara, and that Emily shouldn't have said anything about like her sexual orientation. Samara shows up to apologize to Paige. "Hey, sorry, like, if I made you uncomfortable or anything, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not going to say anything." Paige gets defensive, and Emily's like, just goes to leave. Paige tries to stop her, and Emily's like, "This is just way too much drama, and I don't want to be your secret." Fair. Mm-hmm. Aria cleans her room when she gets a message on her laptop and sees Jackie accepted her request. Aria then goes to click on it, but then second guesses things and removes Jackie as a friend. Hannah and Mona work a pastry booth. Mona spots Caleb walking over and has Hannah go hide behind the booth. Mona then addresses Haleb icily and tells him to leave and that Haleb hurt Hannah. Haleb mentions to hands Mona his note and is like, can you please hand this to Hannah? Mona's like, yeah, whatever. She then opens it up and rips it up and throws it away in a trash can and then dumps icy on it. Hannah returns and asks Mona what Haleb wanted, and she's like, oh, he just wanted change for a 20. Like, like you want Mona in a scrap, but like she's not always the best.
You want Mona in a scrap? I love it.
Yeah, like she going to defend you.
If you're Hannah.
Right, if she's your friend. That's what I meant. Ian stops Spencer at the festival. Ian says, why don't you just stay quiet? And says, you're sinking fast, Spencer. Just threatening her in public, which is always fun. Aria and Fitzs hang at his apartment. Aria asks about his quote-unquote website page and Jackie. And then Aria says, like, I feel like, I've told you a bunch of stuff about me, but, like, I don't really know much about you. To which I go, yeah, this is what I've been asking about. Sorry, you were drinking water.
Took a sip of water and I was like...
Fitz says, I met Jackie in the dorms and we saw each other on and off for about 2 years. And she was the first serious girlfriend I ever had. We were in Italy on, doing college things. I forget what it's called. Study abroad.
I was like, I didn't get to go to Italy for college things.
I took a class called Italy.
It's under the college things department.
Exactly. 0 credits.
Really expensive.
Really. And they were in Italy and Florence, and I proposed to her there. But they never got married because Jackie broke it off. Aria asks why she hasn't taken down the photo, and he's like, I don't know, like it's not my photo, like to take down, like it's not my profile. He's like, like I'm not really excited to like broadcast this kind of stuff. And like then asks Aria what bothers her more, finding the old photo or the fact that they can't take a picture like that together. He then professes his love to her again, and Aria looks sad. Why can't you take a picture again? I can't. I don't need to keep doing this to him, but Ashley,
the dead horse.
Exactly. Garrett will do it for me. Ashley arrived. We'll see. We shall see. I don't think that's where it's gonna go.
Really?
I mean, like, I don't think he's gonna immediately turn him in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll see what happens. Just because I don't know. He could be doing his job. Ashley arrives to see Hannah at the festival and asks if Haleb came by, and Hannah's like, no. Ashley mentions Haleb coming by the house and he was leaving, and Ashley's like, I was wrong about Haleb. And like, I actually see myself in Haleb. I'm really sorry about that. Ashley, you're winning me over. Emily gets a text from you make a lot of dumb decisions, but at the end of the day, you can be a girl
She's under a lot of stress.
She is. Emily gets a text from Paige asking if they could talk. She then gets another text that's from A that says, poor M, you definitely have a type. Love me. Lie for me. Emily then has a flashback. First time we've gotten a flashback in a little while. Exciting. Allie is talking to Emily and says she brought a gift back for her from visiting her grandma, and that, hey, you have to lie about this because like you're the only one I got a gift for. I didn't bring anybody else anything. It's a snow globe that like my grandma had given to me. And that Emily, you're the only one that truly understands me, and I can be completely honest with you. Allie leaves, and Emily asks if she'll see her later, and Allie says yes. Allie mentions that Emily should keep the globe in a safe place because it's a lot more valuable than it looks. Present day, Emily looks at the snow globe and starts looking around for it and looks under the felt and finds a key with an attached card with number 135 on it for Raymond plus storage. Fitz is asleep, and Aria wakes him up to take a photo together with paper bags over their heads where she has drawn faces on them. They then kiss afterwards until Aria gets a text from Emily that she found a key. Aria's like, I gotta go, and calls Emily. We then see Garrett outside of Fitz's apartment. Spencer looks around the festival and gets a text from an unknown number. It says, hey, it's Toby from a borrowed phone. Remember how I said that Spencer was a mark? and that he's inside the funhouse. Spencer looks around the scary exhibit and finds a note from A written on the walls that says, "Having fun yet?"
Inside the funhouse.
Yeah.
She goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I called it an exhibit. To see what the fun is all about.
If you look to your left, you'll see fun.
Exactly.
If you look to your right, you'll see a message from A.
That's so funny. Exactly. It's so funny that people are just going through this fun house. They're like, having fun at. Shut up or I'll shut you. What do you think this is?
How spooky.
Yeah. But the note says, having fun yet? Shut up or I'll shut you up. Spencer tries to. She
She
chooses to go through this small tube that doesn't look like an exit. I don't know what this tube's function serves. And she gets
also,
stuck in there.
Why wouldn't you go back to where you came from? Like, I'd turn around and come back out the way I came in.
Through the door. Not through like a pneumatic tube that you send mail through. Or like at the bank. It looks like that. But she tries to leave through the small tube, but gets wedged in from a gloved hand that puts a crowbar in it. Aria finds Hannah at the festival and loops her into Emily's text, and they go off. Spencer shouts for help inside the tube. Seriously, this is like, I'm weird decision to get into the tube, but it's very scary. I would be very scared if I was stuck in that tube.
Would be. I would be very scared.
Yeah, totally. Like, that's so cramped. Fitz gets a knock at the door and opens it to Garrett. Garrett sees the bags and Aria's scarf, and he mentions to Fitz he wants to talk to him about one of his students. Spencer continues to shout for help and drops her phone as Aria calls. Aria and Hannah see Haleb waiting for the bus, and Aria's like, the whiplash. This scene specifically got me. I'm like, damn, this is some whiplash of like Spencer like, help me. And then Aria and Hannah, Aria being like, go chase after that boy. Meanwhile,
welcome to Pretty Little Lies, baby.
Yeah.
Be prepared for more of these.
And she should go over there and say something. Hannah pauses, looks over, and says, "I'm not going over." And Haleb looks over as he's getting on the bus, sadly. Spencer hears someone come, and the door opens to Ian, to which he's really surprised. And Ian then says, "Hey, she's in here," and is with a search party.
He's holding the crowbar, which is the scary part, too.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw his face.
Pictured a glass of milk. I got
Exactly. He had a milk mustache.
My tummy turned a little.
Probably just eats like steak too, and he just
He was such a nice boy in that movie about the house that became his mom.
Yeah, or when he found out he was part leprechaun.
What happened?
Well, I mean, he maybe didn't get therapy after like that house incident. Spencer, the search party is found her, and Spencer walks up, picks up her phone, finds a text from the real Toby. Spencer walks outside to see Toby waiting sadly. Spencer's family then walks up behind her and is like, "Hey, let's go." And Spencer goes to leave, but then turns around and runs and hugs and kisses Toby as Mrs. Hastings, Mrs. Hackard, and Mrs. Ackard and Melissa look like they want to vomit on the spot. Aria,
Not Brenton, though. Brenton cheered.
That's right.
Might have been tears.
Fists in the air. Exactly. I was really happy about that.
You were.
I was like, damn, like Haleb already got on a bus. So like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm ready for heartbreak. Aria, Hannah, and Emily open up the storage locker and find a lunchbox with a USB in it. Hannah grabs it and Aria says, "Hey, maybe we should wait." Hannah, woman of action. The USB they find has videos of all 5 of the friends being watched, and they surmise that the USB is the reason that Allie was killed. We then get a POV shot outside of Fitz's apartment. A gloved hand reaches under the mat to grab the spare key and leaves. But kind of does this weird like shuffle backwards, like So that's why, and I don't know who it would be, but I don't think it's A, because like they seem very unsteady. Like they aren't practiced at doing this. It was kind of like ooh, up.
Wait, that's so funny.
Yeah, they looked very sketchy. Like it's in like they aren't just like and walking away.
The fact that they were wobbly.
Yeah, exactly.
They
and
just
then
used the wobbly take.
I know exactly. It could have just been like a weird like directorial thing, but all I'll dig a little too deep into it.
No, I love it.
And that's the end.
Okay. So much to talk about.
Yes. So much to do, so much to see.
Were Ian and Melissa in Hilton Head together? Why did they have rooms on opposite sides of the hotel? Different
What
views.
was Melissa doing for Ian? Was she covering for Ian?
And why?
Yep.
I don't know.
I know. It's the Melissa piece and this whole Ian stuff is what.
It really gets you?
Yeah, because they couldn't have been. But what?
Why?
What is she exactly?
Why is she covering for Ian? What purpose does this serve for her?
Exactly. We just don't know. Yeah, damn. Yeah, I mean that's what makes at least like Melissa as like this like wild card character kind of fun because you just don't know.
You don't know.
There's a whole other plot line, a whole other life she's lived that we have no idea. So, looking forward. I don't think we're gonna get answers to that this season. That'll probably be like some. Yeah, that'll probably be season 2, but I want to know more.
All right. Do we trust Fitzs with his story? Was he engaged to this girl that then she broke up with him?
Oh yeah, I do believe this.
And
I don't think that's a lie or anything.
Do we trust him in general? Why don't we know anything else about him?
Yeah, I think he is just like a cagey person. It doesn't like say anything. And doesn't like realize that there's like two-way street that he needs to like be doing of like actually opening up to Aria because he's in this weird relationship with a student. So it's like this weird thing.
What do you think his backstory is?
I know. Of like his heartbreak to hear. I think,
or just like who is he? What was his life like?
I know. I think he was like.
We learned this. You'll get to find out.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Maybe it's more exciting than I think it's going to be. But getting the read off him, he just kind of seemed like it was just like he lived a normal life, was a bit of a goober.
Just a goober?
Yeah, exactly. There's probably more. I don't know. But like how he ended up in wherever here and how like his relationship broke off. I think there's more to that story for sure. But
him as a person.
I just don't think he's like exactly. Yeah, I don't really have
most normal childhood out of everyone in the show.
Yeah, I guess so, probably. Yeah, I know, which pokes giant holes in like you could be a theory, because I'm getting less and excited about that by the day.
Well, I mean, he could have been bored.
That's not. I mean, yeah, that's always true. Yeah. But just like Aria says, like, I feel like I don't know anything about you. So I was very happy that the show goes like, yeah, you don't know anything about him. So I'm curious if this set off, it'd be, God knows, but like, I'd be curious if there's like if this set off like an online thing of people being like, what was Fitzs up to? Like, who is Fitzs? What do you think Fitzs is? And
I don't know if it was that big yet. I'd have to look.
It's later.
But it's a good question.
Yeah, totally.
It's a really good question.
Yeah, and maybe I should be like more excited about the possibility of potentially Fitzs being A, because this gives you a little like opening there of like, we don't know anything about this dude.
Ezra Fitzs, we don't know anything about him.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah.
Like he's in the witness protection program.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. And then also at least the part with like Garrett, there's going to be something that holds up him bringing into the station and like charges being like followed up with on that. Like I don't think that's going to go through.
Okay, we'll skip to that really quick. Cuz we don't know a lot about him. Did Garrett see Aria leave?
Oh, yes. We saw
we saw him come up as she went around, but do you think he knew it was Aria?
No, I thought we saw that
we didn't see him until he approached the door, so I was never sure on the optics of that.
Oh, I could have sworn that he had seen it and and like him like rounding the corners being like,
What do you think he wants to talk to Fitzs about Aria?
Yeah, totally.
And what about Aria? Like, what about Aria?
Right. That like there's a relationship with a student.
Mm.
But then that would usually follow that it's like, oh, there's going to be some type of charges pressed against him. But like, I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know exactly like what would cause Garrett to like not file it or whatever.
Because Ezra pushes him down the stairs.
Exactly. Bye, Garrett. Or
so short-lived.
Right. Exactly.
Literally.
Yeah. So
no.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some complication with it, but I think he's there to talk about like him potentially having a relationship with a student because he looks over at the scarf and the bags.
Mm-hmm. Why is Ian not in trouble for dating a child?
Yeah, because Ian's really good at being two-faced and covering his tracks. Like, because I think we get a good idea of it is nice having Mrs. Ackert in there because we get the
who is he in front of everyone?
Exactly.
That he's slimy.
Exactly. And the woman that's involved with the town. And so is excited to see him, excited to see Melissa. Oh my God, they're just this happy couple, and it's unfortunate about her sister.
But
like,
that's not, it's just all like, as long as she's in their good graces, then it's all just, it's just a misunderstanding. Like she would have never hurt her friend.
Right, exactly.
Her poor sister.
Versus,
her sister.
Exactly.
We're not crossing the street when we see her yet.
No, to come. Send your children to cry at their feet. Yeah, because he's really good at being like, oh yeah, I'm just like the handsome guy,
the good
like,
old boy
exactly.
in the making.
And I because he was like the sports star, I think is also like what Spencer says, and like she was even surprised that he like had a party side because of that.
Yeah.
So I think that also helps backfill some of the explanation of like, why is he back here coaching the women's field hockey team? Is because they probably had an opening and they're like, oh my God, Ian, we love you. Like, get you right in here.
What a nice boy.
Yeah.
Get him a nice job. Get him some good money, and then he, maybe he'll get back together with that Hastings girl, and they'll have a nice little baby.
Oh my God, they're so beautiful together.
And that baby's gonna be gorgeous. And they got married first, and that's what matters.
Exactly.
Cool.
He's just really good at covering.
Mona.
Yeah.
Why'd she throw away the note?
Because she's like, I don't want Hannah making we are done with this guy, and if Hannah sees this note, she might waver.
I have a friend like that, so I can see that.
I was gonna say, yeah, it is 100% that. It's just like, we are not talking to him.
We're done.
Exactly.
We're done.
And so Mona's like, because like she said, like, I didn't trust him to begin with, and I wasn't being a good friend by telling you not to get involved with this guy.
I should have told you that you can't do it.
I'm making up for that now by pouring an icy on it. I told you when we watched it, I wasn't surprised that she didn't just set the trash can on fire.
Love it.
So like I said, you want her as your friend in a scrap, but like, maybe you need to
don't piss her off.
Exactly. Setting up some lines or hurt her friends.
Why trap Spencer? I guess. Why? He'll start with that. Why trap Spencer?
Yeah.
Just a spooker?
Yeah, just to fuck with her. I think because this is the first time that there's been a physical, because I think it was A.
You think that one was for sure A?
I think this was A, and I think this is the first time that A, well, no, we can't talk about the car. Never mind.
A hit Hannah with the car.
Never mind. There's been a physical interaction, so second time. But it's just like another reason. It's like, I can get to you at any time. But Spencer, again,
babe,
I wouldn't go in that tube even if
it did open.
Exactly. No one is like out to get me now, and I would not go in that tube.
Why did Hannah not go say bye to Caleb?
Yeah.
To make you sad?
Yes, just to make me personally sad. But like, I understand. She is she's stubborn and she was hurt. And so she doesn't want to be vulnerable and open back up. Because he hurt her really bad, crossed a really big line. And so she's, I think, has like set up the wall where it's just like, this is done. And like, I'm done. Even though in her heart, she probably doesn't feel that way. And is probably being like over stubborn, I get it. I see my younger self in Hannah.
You do.
Mm-hmm. Of just like,
Does that make me Caleb?
No.
I'm not sleeping in a vent, and I think we should make that very clear.
Please stay. No buses.
Am I Toby?
Am I Spencer?
I think maybe. I don't know.
I am kind of a rube. How did I get in this tube, son of a bitch?
Real fucking book smart though.
Street smart. Don't put me in charge of the investigation. Aside from this podcast,
we already touched on this. On a scale of like 1 to I don't know, like Spoby, how excited were you about that Spoby kiss?
Yeah, extremely excited, all the way up. Because it was perfect. Is she gonna go back? Is she? She does. You know, the Levy and the Lurch.
They hemmed and hawed.
Exactly, and Toby looking sad because Toby would just go, "I understand."
He does a really good pouty face.
He does. He's really good at it. Yeah, I mean,
can you do a Toby face? Just as only for the people who watch the podcast on YouTube.
I can.
Okay, well, you practice for the finale.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. Really
yeah, I don't know. I laugh too hard to get it up.
It's just really funny. I find Toby fascinating because he's played monotone, but he's like, his physical acting is very.
He's filled with emotion, but
exactly. But his delivery is very flat.
I love it.
So it's this funny combination.
Mm-hmm. It also, I think, makes him a really interesting character because you're like, okay, he does have all these feelings, we think.
Yeah?
No, he does.
I know.
Do you know?
I don't, but I'm going to say I know.
Are you suspicious of Toby at all?
No.
Okay. Me neither.
0. Right up on the board.
Who took the videos?
Oh, the one in Allie's. So, this is gonna step into Brenton's theory corner.
So excited! Yeah, that's where we're headed.
Okay, cool.
That and like, why did A take Ezra's key or my?
Yeah,
or whoever.
I'll try and pull something out of a hat for that one.
Get the magic wand out.
Exactly. I don't know. Noel.
When in doubt, you just throw Noel in the mix.
Yeah. I mean,
where is he?
Exactly.
Boarding school?
Again, that's not the worst guess because Noel has been, he thinks, crossed by Fitzs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's also, in my theory, potentially not A. So, like, yeah, that would line up for being an amateur.
Mm-hmm. Okay, carry on though. Who took the videos? Let's go to Brenton's theory corner.
Ian.
We should make tinfoil hats.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We should put them on when you do your theories.
The government. They're watching all of us.
Pretty Little Liars is a metaphor for how you're being watched.
They were living in such blissful ignorance at this time. A couple seasons, they'll find out more. Was it 2012 was the NSA leaks?
I think so.
Yeah. But or one more season, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a fun theory corner. Okay, Snowden all the way back to
Snowden and Ezra went to college together.
Exactly. What a fun backstory. Okay, sorry. Ian took the video.
Okay.
Because Ian and Allie were in like a contentious game because Allie fucks with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ian probably was not giving her the proper attention that Allie wanted, or like was also maybe just feeling bored that day. So would like antagonize Ian because she was a secret. Mm-hmm. And so like as their like antagonistic goes back and forth, Ian tries to step to her. So then Ian is trying to scare her by saying like, I have access to you too. I can see you too. Here's what the video is. Who have we also seen with the video camera as well? Ian. We see that video camera get turned around in the I Know You Want to Kiss Me video with Ian.
Ooh, you're good. Okay.
Thank you very much. I put that last part together like
as
today.
you were doing this?
No, during the break.
Oh. Brenton went to the bathroom and had a revelation.
Eureka! Had to clean up a little bit. But yeah, that last part popped in my head. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he had a camera. I
was
never
like, oh,
thought
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
The first time I've never thought about that.
We'll see if that pays off. So yeah, that's my theory on that. So then there's still the same thing with like Jenna being one removed from A.
But then who's A?
Yeah. I still like the Jason idea. So again,
Do you think Jason
Allie-
knew about Ian?
Allie Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
During their party days, they found out.
Well, yeah, because that would have been when it was happening.
Exactly. Ian slips up, and Jason sees him. Ian alludes to like talking about this stuff, and then Jason sees him. So then Jason puts it together as like a vengeance thing. Go away. Or still that Allie is alive and seeking vengeance on people that have like wronged her in some way, and they've tried to kill her, and then is using the friends and Jenna to like drive forward her plans.
Okay.
That's my top two, and then Fitzs is a dark horse in there for the same thing of like that he was connected to Allie somehow.
Okay.
Which again, I'm not as sold on as I used to be, but still in there, still a candidate.
Okay, so going into the finale, thoughts? What do you think's gonna happen?
Oh yeah, Fitzs is gonna get brought to the station, but something is gonna happen, or he's gonna get
A
like
power out.
no,
It's like playing Mad Libs.
exactly.
There's gonna be a hurricane on Highway 4.
We need an adjective now. It's gonna be really smelly.
There's a gas leak.
Exactly. No, I feel like Garrett, maybe he's not going to get brought to the station, but Garrett's going to offer him like a lifeline of like, end this now or give me information. And then like, I won't say anything about this.
Ooh.
Yeah. Of like,
I
and
like
so
that. You
that's
should have wrote the show.
well, now, and so then Fitzs will give up to Garrett something about the Jenna thing. So then
Yeah, 'cause
Garrett knows about
Loose
that
lips
stuff.
is Fitzs.
Exactly. But, to protect himself. And then see, the friends are all gonna stumble upon Ian's camera or videos to start putting some pieces together about him and thinking that he could be A. But then A is going to fuck with them in the episode to be like, you think I'm Ian? Like, no, I'm not. Kisses. Exactly. This is why you get someone else to write the notes. And then
He's just storyboarding, guys. It's fine. A lot of the details.
we had to do a lot of rewrites. Like, he may get the credit, but like, good God, we had to fill in the lines.
Let props just write the notes.
And then something is going to happen to shake Spencer and Toby a little bit. It's going to leave something up in the air. Aria is going to be concerned about the Fitzs thing, so they're going to fight. Paige is going to figure out is going to finally like follow through on her promise to like come out and be open with Emily when Maya returns. And then is that too much for an episode? That's probably it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's like the cliffhanger for the end of the season?
Yeah, the thing with the A.
Okay.
With the A. With A.
What about B?
Oh no, that's next season.
So
The alphabet killers.
do you think anyone dies? We did have that sign at the beginning of the season.
That's right. It doesn't really fit my plans. Forgot that someone could die.
So David Lynch writes.
Yeah. Well, are we truly dead? As he passes a power line, we follow the outlet out through the trail onto the street. I'm working on my David Lynch impression. And And yeah, who would die?
I mean, I'm not saying someone does. I'm just asking if someone did, who it would be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fit it into your.
It was
narrative.
the. It was
create your own.
It was the guy, the con artist. Who was trying to get one over on Ashley and.
Oh, I forgot about him.
He dies. Yeah, I don't know who would die. I'm gonna say no, and just eat that hat next week.
Allie, dead or alive?
Alive.
Okay. Who's A? Just if you had to pick someone.
Jason.
Okay. I'm just gonna save these for later. Jason, and no one dies? What are you?
I'm going to say no one dies because I can't figure out who would die. So, for lack of a better guess.
This is my own version of meddling.
Yeah.
Any final theories or plot points? You think Maya will be back in the finale?
Yes, but it's going to be like a stinger.
Okay.
It's going to be like, oh, Maya. Mm-hmm. Be like,
watching
sad.
Emily kiss Paige or something.
Yeah, as the police tear apart her house to look for more alley evidence or something.
Any final thoughts, theories, fears?
Something will happen to Toby and Spencer.
That's your fear?
Something bad. Well, okay. We have 7 seasons and they've just gotten together. Something is going to happen to break them apart sooner or later. But I hope it's not something really bad this episode. Because of just how this stories go.
I think you'll be okay on this one.
They're together, then they're not. Together, then they're not. Okay.
They don't play that game too much.
Oh, I like it.
They play a very different game.
Oh. Interesting.
Stay tuned for season 3.
Like I said, there are a couple... when I posted it on Twitter, whatever that weeks ago or something, it was like, yep, 2 beautiful weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. I know.
I mean...
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I don't know how you're going to feel about that storyline as it carries on. You're very attached to Toby.
I am.
And Spencer.
Uh-huh. I'll just live in the present. And enjoy the ride while I can.
On that note, final thoughts?
Nothing else from me.
No Fallon Fitz? He's not going to jail?
No, he's not going to go to jail. It's going to be the threat of it, but he's not going to.
All right.
No orange jumpsuit for him.
No. Shall we plug?
Yeah, let's do it.
When I'm not here doing this, sometimes I'm sitting over there and I do life and career coaching. You can find all of my coaching details on butreallythough.com. I also post content all over the internet in various places. They're all linked on butreallythough.com, though it's spelled THO. And I'll have Brenton put my link tree in the description.
Yes, I've been
the video.
Doing that now.
Good. That is good. I'm proud of you.
Yes, it should be on all of them, and it's definitely on our YouTube page. Yep.
Perfect.
Cool.
Beautiful. What about you? Where are you?
Oh, me. I need to do it on the next episode. You can find this podcast on YouTube at Dead Ends. You can also find this on all your podcast platform of choice at Dead Ends. We would love more subscribers and reviews.
That's called branding.
Exactly. Who'd have thunk it? But we're a small podcast, so we appreciate any helpful reviews and shares and all that stuff. We hope you like it. And then you can also find my blog at burgerdiscourse.com. Some point I will write another blog for it this year. It's been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to be able to write more. And then you can also find us doing Let's Plays over at my YouTube channel, Burger Discourse. We are still playing through Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories.
That we are.
That we are.
So far, it's my least favorite Kingdom Hearts game.
Yep. Same. I mean, but we've only played 2. It could get so much worse.
I've played other ones.
Yeah, I know. It's, yeah.
Well, are you ready?
Oh, yes. Going into the season finale, now more than ever, we're still here. We're going to find out everything.
You know nothing.
I do know nothing.
I don't remember anything. I'm like, could have been season 2, could have been season 4. I don't know. Something happened.
We're still here and head empty.
No thoughts. Bye, friends.